Hey there, book lovers. Welcome to Beyond the Page, the podcast where pages turn and stories yearn. We'll dive into tales old and new, from dusty classics to fresh off the press. Get comfy, grab your favorite read. We're embarking on a literary quest.
Ever get that feeling like you're so attached to an idea that it's kind of running the show?
Yeah.
Today we're going deep on attachment.
Okay.
Specifically, how attached we are to our own beliefs and
Yeah.
how that messes with our lives.
Yeah.
Our guide for this deep dive is The 5 Levels of Attachment
Okay.
by Don Miguel Ruiz Jr.,
Cool.
who's tapping into this ancient Toltec wisdom
Interesting.
for some seriously modern insight.
Yeah, I like this guy.
You ready to see where you fall on this spectrum?
Let's do it.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
What's so interesting about this book is it doesn't bash knowledge itself.
Right.
Ruiz Jr. actually makes it clear.
Okay.
Knowledge is essential for navigating life.
Makes sense.
The problem is when we become so fixated on our version of knowledge,
Yeah.
our beliefs,
Right.
that we can't see past them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where this whole smoky mirror analogy comes in, right?
Yeah.
I love this visual.
I know. It's so good.
It's like our true potential is this mirror. But all that smoke from clinging to our beliefs
Yeah.
is obscuring the reflection.
It's brilliant
It is brilliant.
because it highlights how attachment actually prevents us from seeing things clearly.
Oh, for sure.
And that lack of clarity,
Uh-huh.
that's where the trouble starts.
Totally.
Conflicts,
Yeah.
missed opportunities,
Yep.
even straight up suffering.
Big time.
Big time.
Okay, so how do we start clearing the smoke?
Good question.
Well, Ruiz Jr. breaks attachment down into 5 distinct levels.
Okay.
And he uses the super relatable example. Soccer.
I like it.
You don't even have to be a sports fan to get this.
I'm not.
I promise.
Okay, good.
It's clever because almost everyone's experienced that thrill of victory,
Yeah,
the agony of defeat,
for sure.
even if it's just for their favorite team.
Mm-hmm.
But Ruiz Jr. takes it further.
Tough.
He shows how those same dynamics play out in every area of life.
Wow.
And the stakes are way higher.
Makes you think.
All right, let's break down these levels. Level 1 is the authentic self.
Okay.
Picture yourself at a soccer game,
Right.
just enjoying the game itself.
I can do that.
The skill, the strategy, the pure athleticism.
Yeah.
You're not rooting for either side.
I'm just there for the game.
When it's over, you leave it behind.
Okay.
No emotional baggage, no judgments lingering.
Interesting.
That's level 1.
It's that beautiful state of detachment where you can experience something
Yeah.
fully without getting caught up in the outcome.
Yeah.
You're not clinging to any belief about who should win.
Right.
It's pure presence,
I like it.
pure potential.
Love it.
Love it.
Now, level 2 is preference.
Okay.
So you've got a favorite team now,
Right.
maybe your hometown team,
Sure.
or maybe you just dig their colors.
Yeah.
You're invested, but it doesn't define you.
Gotcha.
Your team loses. It's a bummer,
Yeah.
but life goes on.
You move on.
The key here is being aware of your preference,
Okay.
acknowledging it, but not letting it rule you. You're still able to see the bigger picture.
Okay, I see.
Level 3 is where things start to get a little sticky.
Oh,
This is identity.
right.
Now, you identify as a fan.
Okay.
Their wins are your wins.
Uh-huh.
Their losses cut deep.
Yeah.
You're wearing the jersey, arguing with rivals.
Oh, boy.
You get the picture.
This is where that smoky mirror really starts fogging things up.
Totally.
Your beliefs are so intertwined with your sense of self that you can't separate them.
Yeah.
The world shrinks down to this narrow view.
Right.
And anything that challenges those beliefs
Yeah.
feels like a personal attack.
It's scary how quickly it can happen.
It is.
And that leads us to level 4 internalization.
Okay.
Now, your team's performance is directly linked to your self-worth.
Oh, wow.
They win, you're on top of the world.
Yeah.
They lose, you feel like you lost.
Oh, no.
Like you're somehow less worthy.
That's heavy.
Think about how this plays out in other areas of life.
Okay.
Politics, religion, careers, relationships.
Oh, yeah.
We judge ourselves and others based on these narrow beliefs.
Right.
That creates so much unnecessary suffering. Whoa.
Whoa.
And then we hit level 5.
Okay.
Full-blown fanaticism.
Here we go.
The team is everything.
Wow.
You're spending all your time and money following them. maybe even getting into fights with other fans.
Nice.
At this level, the attachment becomes all-consuming. That's an obsession that drives your thoughts, emotions, actions.
For sure.
You lose all perspective.
Oh.
And it can lead to some seriously destructive behavior.
Yeah, I can see that.
Ruiz Jr. shares some pretty chilling real-life examples of this, too.
Really?
There was this fan who committed suicide after his team was relegated to a lower division.
Oh, my God.
And then this bus driver, a fan, intentionally crashed into a group of people wearing the opposing team's jersey, killing 4 of them.
That's awful.
It's scary how far this can go.
Really makes you think.
Makes you wonder, right?
Yeah.
Where do we draw the line?
Good question.
Ruiz Jr. argues that most of us are operating at levels 3 and 4. Identity and internalization with many of our beliefs.
Interesting.
And when you apply those levels to things like politics, religion, even lifestyle choices, things get real.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It makes you ask,
what's that?
How do we loosen the grip of those attachments?
Yeah.
How do we create a healthier relationship with our beliefs?
Right.
Before we end up crashing the bus?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it?
Now, that is a great question.
I know, right?
And luckily for us, Ruiz Jr. offers some seriously insightful answers.
Good.
We're going to dive into those right after this.
Can't wait. Welcome back to our deep dive into the 5 levels of attachment.
Before we jumped into this, I had never really considered how deeply my beliefs were, tied to my identity.
Right.
But it's hard to ignore once you see it.
It really is.
Hearing those real-life examples of fanaticism was a bit of a wake-up call for me.
Yeah.
Made me realize I've got some level 4 internalization going on with some of my beliefs.
Interesting.
It's not quite fanaticism, but it's definitely affecting how I feel about myself.
That's a really common experience.
Oh, is it?
For people. When they first encounter these concepts, it's like waking up from a dream.
Yeah.
And realizing that the reality we've built for ourselves might not be as solid as we thought.
Whoa.
Oh.
So how do we start to, deconstruct that?
Yeah, good question.
How do we find solid ground?
Well, one of the key concepts Ruiz Jr. introduces is this idea of the mitote.
Okay, the mitote.
This inner chatter we all experience.
Yeah.
It's basically the thousands of voices in our heads.
Oh, my gosh.
Constantly vying for attention.
Uh-huh.
It's that internal dialogue that can feel like a chaotic committee meeting, judging, criticizing, and second-guessing every move we make.
Oh, tell me about it.
Right.
It's like a whole panel of critics up in my head constantly commenting on everything I do.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to even hear myself think over all the noise.
And here's the thing.
Okay.
Ruiz Jr. connects that mitote directly to our attachments.
Interesting.
He argues that the louder those voices of judgment are, the more likely we are to cling to our beliefs.
So it's like we're trying to prove those voices wrong?
Yeah.
By holding even tighter to our convictions.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
And that's the trap.
Okay.
True peace and freedom don't come from proving anything to those voices.
Right.
They can only come from within.
It reminds me of that story Ruiz Jr. shares about watching a football game with the sound off.
Oh, yeah. I love that one.
He realized that without all the commentary, all those voices telling him what to think and feel, he could just experience the game.
Just watch it.
Appreciate the skill,
the
strategy, the raw athleticism without all the hype and drama.
It's such a powerful image.
It is.
It highlights how much of our experience is shaped by that external noise.
Oh, for sure.
We get so used to listening to commentators, experts, the news.
Social media.
Social media.
Yeah. It's like everywhere.
That we forget to trust our own intuition and simply observe.
It's like we've outsourced our own perception.
Totally.
Our own ability to experience the world directly.
And that outsourcing can have a big impact on our relationships, too.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Ruiz Jr. makes this really important distinction between what he calls conditional love and authentic love.
So conditional versus authentic.
He argues that conditional love, the kind that's often fueled by that mitote, is what leads to attachment in the first place. We're constantly trying to earn love to prove we're worthy based on these external conditions.
So then what does authentic love look like?
Good question.
How do we move away from that conditional kind of love?
Well, authentic love is unconditional.
Okay.
It's not about performance, achievements, or meeting external standards.
Right.
It's about acceptance.
Okay.
Embracing ourselves and others exactly as we are.
I love that.
Flaws and all.
That sounds amazing.
It is.
But how do we actually cultivate that kind of love?
Yeah. How do we quiet those judgmental voices that keep telling us we're not good enough?
It feels impossible sometimes.
Well, Ruiz Jr. offers a bunch of tools and techniques for doing just that.
Give me the tools.
One of them is becoming aware of our assumptions.
Our assumptions?
He uses this clever exercise.
Okay.
Where he asks you to draw an incomplete circle.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
So you haven't actually drawn the whole thing, but your mind automatically fills in the missing pieces.
It does.
Right.
Our brains are like pattern-seeking machines.
Totally.
We instinctively try to create a complete picture, even when we only have partial information.
Exactly.
Like automatic.
And Ruiz Jr. points out that this same tendency plays out in our everyday lives.
Oh, really?
We're constantly filling in the gaps with assumptions.
Yeah.
And those assumptions often come from past experiences and ingrained beliefs.
Like steps.
The problem is...
Yeah, what's the problem?
Those assumptions can color our perception.
Oh, okay.
Warping our emotions and actions.
So how does this connect back to attachment?
Think about it.
Okay.
When you're attached to a belief, you're more likely to make assumptions that confirm that belief.
Oh, interesting.
Even if they aren't based in reality.
It's like you're wearing those belief-tinted glasses
that
filter the world to fit your existing view.
Wow, I love that.
I'm starting to see how all of these pieces fit together.
They too.
The metote, conditional love, assumptions.
It's all interconnected
and
feeding that cycle of attachment.
Wow, it is a complex web.
It is.
But by becoming aware of these dynamics, we can start to unravel it. We can see where those assumptions are leading us astray.
Right.
And we can start to challenge those beliefs that are no longer serving us.
That's the key.
You know, one thing that really struck me in the book was Ruiz Jr.'s emphasis on how pointless it is to argue to prove your beliefs.
Oh, yeah, he was big on that.
He says it just leads to breakdowns in communication.
For sure.
And erodes respect.
The important thing here is that it's not about suppressing your beliefs or pretending they don't matter. It's about recognizing that everyone has their own unique perspective.
I like that.
A perspective shaped by their own experiences. And
you
guessed it.
Attachments.
Yeah.
So instead of trying to convert people to our way of thinking, we can focus on understanding where they're coming from, even if we don't see eye to eye.
And honestly, that shift in focus can be so freeing.
Oh, I bet.
It allows us to let go of that need to be right, to have the last word.
Totally.
Instead of seeing disagreements as battles to be won, we can see them as opportunities for growth and understanding.
It's like we're opening ourselves up to a bigger picture.
It is.
A more nuanced understanding of the world.
That's exactly it.
Just by making space for other people's truths.
And that expansion, that willingness to see beyond our own limited perspective is a key step in loosening the grip of attachment.
Okay, so we've covered the mitote, conditional love, assumptions, and the whole arguing thing.
Yeah, we've covered a lot.
What other tools does Ruiz Jr. offer
so many
for breaking free from these patterns?
One of the most powerful tools he talks about is learning to honor our emotions as guides.
Our emotions as guides.
Instead of seeing them as enemies to be suppressed. He encourages us to view them as valuable messengers.
Interesting.
Messengers that can alert us to potential wounds and limiting beliefs.
That's such an interesting way to look at it.
Isn't it?
Instead of seeing negative emotions as something to avoid, we can actually use them as opportunities for self-discovery.
Exactly.
Wow.
Next time you feel a strong emotion, don't try to push it away.
What do I do?
Instead, get curious about it.
Curious about it.
Ask yourself, what is this feeling telling me about myself? What belief or assumption is being triggered right now?
So it's about tuning in to those internal signals. Instead of numbing them out or distracting ourselves.
It's a practice in mindfulness.
Mindfulness.
About cultivating a deeper awareness of your own inner landscape.
This idea of honoring emotions as guides is really resonating with me.
I know. It's powerful.
It's like we're being invited to become more curious about our inner world.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to control it or force it into a neat little box.
That curiosity.
Yeah.
That willingness to explore your emotions without judgment. is essential for breaking free from those attachments.
Okay.
You start to see those emotions not as problems to be solved, but as valuable sources of information.
It's like those emotions are actually showing us the way out.
They are.
If we just pay attention. It's like we've been trying to fight our emotions for so long.
Yeah.
But what if they're actually trying to help us?
It's a total game changer.
Totally.
And when you start to see your emotions as allies instead of enemies, you can use them as fuel for growth and transformation.
Oh, wow.
And that transformation can have like a ripple effect on every part of your life.
Right.
Especially your relationships.
You know, Ruiz Jr. talks a lot about letting go of that need to be right.
Yeah.
And how clinging to that need can create so much conflict in our relationship.
What's so fascinating is that letting go of that need isn't about becoming passive or agreeing with everything you hear.
Gotcha.
It's about recognizing that everyone has their own unique perspective, a perspective shaped by their own experiences. And you guessed it.
Attachments. Yeah. So instead of trying to force our beliefs on others, we can try to understand where they're coming from.
Exactly.
Even if we don't see eye to eye.
And that shift in focus can be incredibly liberating.
I can imagine.
It allows you to let go of that need to control or convince others.
Right.
Suddenly, disagreements aren't battles to be won, but opportunities to grow and understand each other better.
It's like we're creating space for a more authentic, more harmonious way of relating to the world around us.
That's the heart of the 5 levels of attachment, really. It's about recognizing how much your beliefs shape your experience.
Right.
And then consciously choosing how attached you want to be in each moment.
Okay.
It's about finding that balance between being engaged in the world, but not getting lost in the drama of your own mind.
So what does all of this mean for us in our everyday lives? How do we put these concepts into practice?
It all starts with awareness.
Okay.
Pay attention to those moments when you have a strong emotional reaction, especially if it feels out of proportion to what's happening.
Right.
Ask yourself, what belief is being triggered here?
Okay.
What assumption is driving this reaction?
Interesting.
And most importantly, is this attachment helping me or holding me back?
It's like we're becoming more conscious of our own internal operating system, noticing the patterns and programs that are running in the background.
And once you're aware of those patterns, you can choose to respond differently.
I like it.
You can challenge those limiting beliefs, question those unhelpful assumptions, and cultivate a more compassionate and accepting relationship with yourself and everyone around you.
There's this powerful visualization Ruiz Jr. offers that I really like.
Oh, yeah.
That really captures this idea of reclaiming your power.
Tell me about it.
He asks you to imagine yourself standing in front of a mirror.
Okay.
Seeing yourself clearly without judgment.
Right.
You can acknowledge those perks of yourself.
Yeah.
You might want to change, but you do it from a place of self-love.
Love it.
Not self-criticism.
That image of the mirror.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful reminder that we have the power to choose how we see ourselves.
Totally.
And how we relate to the world.
You can focus on our perceived flaws and limitations.
Right.
Or we can choose to see our inherent wholeness and potential.
It's a powerful choice.
It is.
So the 5 levels of attachment, they aren't about achieving some kind of perfect state of detachment.
Right.
It's about recognizing that you have a choice in each moment.
Okay.
You can let your attachments control you.
Yeah.
Or you can use them as a springboard for growth, transformation, and a deeper experience of love and connection.
It's a journey of self-discovery.
It is.
That's available to each and every one of us.
I love that.
Well, that's a wrap on our deep dive into the 5 levels of attachment.
So good.
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty inspired to start examining my own beliefs.
Me too.
With a little more curiosity and a lot less judgment.
It's been a pleasure diving deep with you.
Likewise.
Remember, the power to choose is always within you.
And until next time,
keep
exploring, keep questioning,
keep diving deep.
Hey there, book lovers, welcome to Beyond the Pages, the podcast where pages turn and stories yearn. We'll dive into tales old and new, from dusty classics to fresh off the press. Get comfy, grab your favorite read. We're embarking on a literary quest.